everybody. Happy new week. Hope you're doing absolutely amazing. I'm super excited to be sitting here next to my recently published author, hot off the press, Cheryl Virgo. Good morning.
Good morning, Nat. How are you? It's great to be here.
I'm amazing, and I love your book right there behind you, My Transgender Son. And today we are going to be talking about loving the spirit, not the body, and all of these little insights we're going to get from Cheryl's world. But before anything, I'm going to introduce you guys officially to her. And she's based up in Queensland. We met probably a year and a half, maybe not even a year and a half ago, online. And she completed our hybrid model, so she had some time with Stuart, and then she went through the whole publishing process. And she's been a really active participant in our community, even though she kind of did this, she pulled it together. She goes, I think I've kind of done all your stuff now by this point. So I'm going to introduce you guys properly, and then we'll get stuck into the juicy conversation we've got for you guys today. And by all means, I highly encourage you to write your comments and questions if you're watching this live, and I'll keep track and let Cheryl know as we go along. So Cheryl is a wife, mother of 3 adult children, and she has also been a natural therapist for 20 years using Polarity therapy, foot reflexology, lymphatic massage, Aromatouch, and counselling to help her clients heal. She's accredited with the Australian Traditional Medicine Society. Her son started transitioning from female to male at the age of 23 in 2021. His transition continues as Cheryl and her family support him with his gender choice. As an engaging and inspiring speaker, Cheryl relates the journey between the parents and the transgender child. Her spiritual insights, along with her background in the healing arts, reveal a healthier, holistic approach to this time of immense change. Wow. Oh my gosh. So your life it's quite different from 2022 to now, or was it earlier than that was revealed, I guess, the desire to change? Tell us a little bit, I guess, about that background, the background story of it.
Okay. Ronan was known as Rachel, and I always just thought he was a tomboy. He liked playing with boys. He liked doing karate kicks. He liked climbing trees, building cubbies. And then he joined woodwork and metalwork at high school and excelled in both of those. And I think he even got near the top of his class in metalwork. And I just thought, right, she's just a modern type of woman, afraid to express herself. I had no inklings that he could possibly have transgender inclinations.
Wow. And what was the kind of spark that sparked you to, write the book and write the story, and why?
Okay, it was never going to be a story. It was my very personal journal, which I kept in my bedside cupboard in the bottom drawer, never ever to see the light of day, just for me, so I could reflect maybe one day in the future and see how far I'd come. And that's where it was going to stay until after 9 months of, I would say, at the height of Ronan transitioning, as he went through his testosterone, or T as they call it, and as he went through, then he went through the mastectomy, and all the other bodily changes and the differences started appearing. So that was over 9 months, and then I looked at it and I thought, you know what, I actually haven't done too bad considering what I've gone through here. Maybe there's a few gems here that I could share with some other people, because I know how much I was hurting and how lost I was. So I really would like to reach out to some other parents and say, hey, there's a way through.
Yeah, beautiful. So that was the desire. How does Ronan feel about you writing the book?
Well, I'm pleased to say he's quite happy with it. I got a very emotional review from him about a week ago. It took him a long time to read it, Nat, because he is not a person that wants to read. He did say, Mum, can you make me an Audible copy? Because he listened to it on his motorised scooter, what do you call it, those skateboard things they ride around. So, and then finally he decided to read it, and he rang me with tears and told me his review. He said he loved it, but he didn't know how much I went through. He said, I didn't know how much pain I caused you. I didn't know, Mum, that you were grieving over losing the name of Rachel. I didn't know you were grieving over the prospect of never having grandchildren from me. So he understood because, and which was nice. I didn't need him to say that, but he said he loved the book, and he said he thinks it will help many parents and kids understand their parents, what they're going through, and connect rather than stay away from each other.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so
Yeah.
many times, I mean, even in, you know, everyday parent-child relationships, you sometimes don't know what's going on in someone's deep thoughts when they're on their own, vice versa, right? So for such a significant life change, this would be, this would have been a big insight to share. And I know when I journal, you know, the things you put in your journal are quite private to you. And you know, so it's pretty brave for you to have shared your innermost thoughts, you know, then into a book. Did it stay, like, tell us when people get the book, you know, is it going to be journal like, or did you translate the journals into kind of chapters? And
Oh, thanks for asking that. Yes, no, it's not journal-like. Apparently it flows quite well. People tell me they find it hard to put it down, which I'm really grateful for, because I initially thought, who would want to read the mad rantings of my mind? Initially thought. And they said, no, it's very real, it's very raw, it's very honest, and they could relate to it. So but no, no, it's come out in, I think, about 13 chapters. And thank you for that guidance too.
Yeah,
I stick to 12, but I added one.
Always a bonus one, the lucky last one, you know, even though it's chapter 13. I love it. Oh, beautiful. So let's maybe share some insights from the book, because you would like to speak on this topic to groups and parents and families, you know, and sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? And someone having gone through the journey and still going through it would have some valuable insights and I guess tips and shortcuts, I always call them, because you've walked like this journey of years and years, and then you can look back and go, oh yeah, you know, you can ramble off like an expert what's going on. And that's what I tell my budding authors. I've been doing this like 14 years. I've seen every pattern I could possibly see. That's why I can help you guys get there so much faster. So reading the signs that your child could be transgender, what's kind of, what are some of the signs? What's something that people could, you know, start to notice and be kind about and all that sort of stuff?
Okay, so the reason I put that in there is because if you're, and I do confess to being naive in my book, I was just naive to it. I didn't have any other transgender children to compare him to. So from the era I'm from, when I had my children back in 94 and 97, we just said they're tomboys, because we didn't have, we didn't talk about transgender. For that matter, we didn't really even talk much about the gay and, you know, the diverse community out there now, the diversity. So the signs to look for are when they continually say, no, I don't want to wear a dress.
Yeah.
I hate pink.
Yeah.
When they say things like, you know, they want to wear Western shirts, when you take them shopping and they absolutely hate shopping, and you're standing around looking at every single item in the girls department for 2 hours, and then they finally head over to the boys department and pick out 3 Western shirts and a pair of, and when they do things like they tell you they're sitting with their group of friends, but they say things like, I don't understand girl talk, Mum. Okay, I can't comment from, although I'm starting to meet the male transgendering into the females through Ronan, but they can't relate to others. They're not interested in boy talk. They're not interested in talking about doing makeup and, you know, hairstyles. And they just are more, he was more matter of fact. And he wanted to do things. He wanted to go like camping, fishing, do crazy things, burnouts in cars.
I love it.
I can't remember ever doing that as a teenager, you know, in my early 20s. Yeah. So there's some of the signs. And when they tell you they just can't relate to the girls' stuff, that it's stupid, you know, instead of thinking, oh, they're just a tomboy, maybe, you know, just investigate a little bit further. Open your mind up.
Yeah, and did these signs sort of began very early in life? Is that right?
That's right, because he's actually got a twin sister. And so it was twin girls. So it was very interesting now that I look back, Nat, because then his twin sister Sophie became the one that I could measure him against. And I thought, well, she's fine with all the little pink frilly dresses with smocking and embroidery that Grandma's making. But Ronan, you know, Ronan's sort of like losing them or trampling on them and leaving them in the bottom of his wardrobe. So you could see the differences there, although they were two very different girls at that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's because children do go through various stages. You know, my middle daughter at one point was for about 6 months was wearing oversized t-shirts and yeah, totally like just pants and all that kind of stuff. And I was like wondering, but then my mum said, oh, she's just hiding herself because she's developing and all that, you know. They do that. And apparently I did it as well when I was young. So it doesn't often mean that, you know, for you, however, it was very consistent.
It was very consistent from about the age of 5, now that I think back, saying he wanted to, and he, you know, not wear dresses. He felt he wanted to wear trousers and just doing dangerous things like boys do, like climbing, not just hanging from the monkey bars, but having to walk or run across them or do it on tiptoes and climbing very high trees and investigating mechanical things. Loved the shed, loved hanging out with my husband. And let's see how this works, you know, liked all the mechanics. And I was a bit naive.
Yeah. But look, you know, now you have the benefit of hindsight and understand, and you have some answers. Sometimes, you know, the hardest thing is when we don't have an answer to a question or something's going on and we can't pinpoint what it is.
Yes.
So that, you know, once you have the answer, you can make different decisions with self-awareness and you know, give them what they need, right?
That's right. So teachers never picked it up either. They never said, do you realise that your daughter could actually have, because they didn't understand the transgender phenomenon. So there were no signposts.
Right.
Until we were at the place.
Yeah. So was there a big announcement in the family like of this happening, or?
There was some big discussions because we're very close.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting family. We're quite different. There were 3 girls. I've got a stepson, Lockie. He's adopted me as his mother.
Yeah.
My husband and myself. So we all reacted differently. Sophie, his twin sister, was fiercely protective and no, if he wants to be this, let him be it. It's his right, which was very unselfish of her. My husband was super cool and he's like, great, you know, because his stepfather, Ronan, said, how are we going to tell him? And I said, well, he's coming home from work tomorrow, so just get dressed up in your new clothes and, you know, your aftershave, and I'll announce the new Rachel, because he didn't know who he was at that stage. Olivia, the eldest daughter, she was a little bit like me. She's like, nah, he's just going through another phase, Mum. It'll wear off. And I was sort of like, he was talking about it more, investigating it more, wearing the clothes, hanging out with friends, I thought, no, this is really happening. And I just decided to face up to it and go through it. So we all reacted in different ways, I suppose.
And then began the transformation, the journey to transformation.
That's right. He was very excited as he announced his hatch day, that's what he calls it, where he hatches out of the egg as the real person he's meant to be. I think that might be a term a few of them use, and I think that was March the 11th. So I found that very symbolic. I took him out for breakfast, I think it was on the day before, and bought him a very beautiful crystal that represented change, and I bought him a beautiful card that wrote my sentiments out, you know, wrote it out to say, yes, I'm going to go through this with you, and took him out to breakfast. So yes, that's when he said, right, I'm excited. I've been passed to have testosterone. I'm excited. I'm about to start my journey as a man. Nice,
beautiful. And so let's talk now about the communication secrets. Like, how do you know, how does it happen? Like, you know, obviously people who haven't lived through this, you know, what are some tips you can give that for some parents who might just find out or they might have suspicions? What are some hot tips you can share that obviously are shared in your book, and people can go buy the book and get everything in there, but let's give them a little bit of value here around that.
Sure. So the main thing I found is to learn to listen and not to lecture. That's very important, because let's face it, unless you've been in someone's shoes, how can you possibly, to me, how can you lecture them? And if you're not feeling what they're feeling, how can you lecture them? To me, it was very important to maintain the mother-child relationship at all costs. I saw the end first, and that's what I had to work toward. which was keeping connection, keeping relationship between him and myself and the whole family. So learning to listen, not lecture, seeing myself as a friend and parent. So really walking alongside him, guiding him, but also being a friend, which is a pretty hard line for parents to walk sometimes. And then I had to learn to put my judgments aside, all my preconceived judgments of what I possibly would have thought in the back of my mind about the transgender situation. I just put it aside and learnt to be brave. I realised if I was going to go through this journey, I had to face it, I had to be brave. And I was sometimes going to hear things I didn't want to hear, and sometimes when I heard too much, I just said, okay, time out, time for me to go and have a cup of tea or something. So yeah, just giving myself some space sometimes too, giving him space. So it's about talking and just hugging. I think when you're lost for words, a hug says a lot. They don't know what to say to you. You don't know what to say to them. There's a lot of emotions running high as they're excited about going towards the new them. You're very sad about losing the old them, the old rituals, the old name. So sometimes that hug can help you connect. So there's some other communication skills that I used.
Non-verbal, right? Non-verbal is probably more powerful than the verbal ones.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. You've got a couple of comments here. Amy is just saying, I love Hatch Day. And Amanda said, wonderful. That was earlier. That's wonderful feedback to what you had written. What you had heard back from him.
Thanks.
Is it? Was it at any point like confusing the he, she kind of, you know? And do you guys sometimes slip up? And how is that taken, you know, within the family? And
occasionally we'll revert back to she, and then I correct myself quickly. I think it's important to be humble and say, because they can get dysphoria, gender dysphoria. He really detested his breasts, even though he had them pinned down, strapped down very tightly. If you say she and they're really trying to escape that, that can be very offensive to them. So I was just very honest and saying, just saying, sorry, that was a slip up. Or if you're talking about friends and you use the wrong gender, which is quite easy to do when he says his friend Mary is a boy, he's going to be a woman, but he looks extremely like a boy. He hasn't started any of the it's very easy with the appearance to slip up and go back to the old pronouns. Sorry, could you ask that question again?
Yeah, that's exactly. You answered it perfectly. Like, you know, do you slip up and you know, because you don't want to, but we're not perfect, right? And you know, for all your life, like, you know, and visually, as you say, you can slip up because the full transition hasn't happened and all that sort of stuff. And I guess the reason I asked the question is because there might be people out there who might have friends that are transitioning and all that, and you as a friend might slip up and all that sort of stuff. So you want to be respectful, and I don't think we're doing it out of disrespect. It's just, you know,
it's an honest slip up. So you just say, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking then, or I'm tired, I do apologize. I meant she, and that will often, so it's being humble and confessing, and just, you know, just that little confession doesn't hurt, and on goes the communication and the love, and you keep going forward.
Yeah, I love it. Suzanne saying, I love Hatch Day. My partner has a son that is transitioning to be a woman. She is his daughter now, and the family is supporting her decision. She's 16, and this book would be wonderful for both of them. Thank you for writing this. So there you go. That's from your fellow buddy author, Suzanne Gomes, up also in Queensland as well. So see, there you go. You've reached out, and there's someone that's going to be impacted with a younger child that will be going through this. So beautiful. All right. The last point of discussion is loving your child unconditionally. I mean, who cares what they are as long as they're happy and healthy, right? You know, so how does, you know, what's some tips you can give to those parents who are probably in the freak out mode stage, denial or anger, blame, all that sort of stuff? What can you say to them?
Okay, you will go through different stages. I did, and if you read my book, you'll find out how, you know, I was highly functional, but I had my emotional ups and downs. I thought, right, I'm over this now. I'm healed. I'm going forward. Oh, but then I've gone back to no. I don't want to call him Ronan. I want to call him darling or R. just out of, you know, I want to rebel against losing the Rachel name. So, yeah, so it's just about, sorry, can you ask the question?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
an emotional.
like loving them
Unconditionally.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. And that was a real gift, learning to love him unconditionally, because you don't know if your love is unconditional until you're faced with the prospect that the person in the package, that you know them, you won't recognize them. I mean, he as a girl had long flowing hair, slender face, very smooth skin, not a hair on the legs or the arms, fairly slim, the best bust in the house. So you don't know till you're faced with the prospect of losing the exterior, you know, and you learn to connect with that spirit. Then you think, aha, so this is unconditional love. This is when the package changes, when all the little habits have changed, when everything you know has changed. Then you get in touch with unconditional love. Yes, you will have to go through some transitioning emotions and things, and I would say don't expect your transgender child to be there for you. You need to be there for you. If you've got a partner, they need to be there for you, and you need to have a coach or a trusted friend to guide you through, because you will want to offload. You will want to take time out. You'll see in my book I took frequent little times away, a couple of little sojourns, you know, just for a couple of days to the mountains. I did frequent chai tea. I did my yoga, all those sort of things, essential oils, because I'm a natural therapist. So all these little things add into self-care, which enable us to cope better as parents when we're going through the toughest time of it. So, and loving unconditionally, it's a gift, because at the end of it, how would I have learned that otherwise? I mean, he's given that to me as a gift. And he said to me the other day when he gave me his review over the phone, he said, Mum, do you love me as much as Ronan as you loved me when I was Rachel? And I said, I love you more. So that is the gift from this, is finding about unconditional love and sticking together as a family. And then that strengthens you, and you think, wow, if I can get through that one, I can take whatever life throws at me, you know. So it's very empowering in that way. So look forward to that time, believe in that time, embrace that time, and be kind to yourself as you stumble a little along the way.
Oh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. And Vivi's just saying, you know, I love your book cover, you know, with lion representing. What does that mean to you? Let's talk about the journey of doing the book. You know, what's the representation there?
The representation, okay, as a child, he's had some interesting ways. He used to like making these incredible sounds, like he'd pretend he was a leopard, or he would pretend he was a lion or a horse, and he'd make these really powerful sounds. So out of this little tiny skinny kid would come this huge sound, and I just think, wow, that's interesting. The energy behind that is really interesting. So because he's transitioning, you can see on the cover, the book is, you know, at the bottom, it's the lioness, and then it's the lion on the top. So male to female to male. So that's the transition thing, is what that denotes.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning and really pops.
Thank you to your team for producing that.
We're so proud of you. And overall, like, you came with obviously a completed journal, or, you know, where you had gotten, and then you decided to get some mentorship from Stuart.
Yes.
And what we call like a hybrid. You didn't come to the full program, but because you had a lot of words, you needed to just get them organized and then go into publishing. You know, how was that process for you? You know, what, you know, and how long all up, remind me, it took start to finish?
Okay, I think I started seeing your very exciting ads on Facebook in about April 2022.
Right.
Then I started to tweak. I looked at this journal I had, and I thought, you know, there's some gems in this. And then I started to think, maybe one other person might be interested in this. And then Stuart's really great, because number one, he gave me confidence that yes, I did have a story there, because I didn't know if it was just the mad ramblings of my mind. And he said, no, there's some good stuff there. And then he talked to me about keywords, I think it was. He helped me to, because I had too many words. I actually had about 63,000 odd words.
Yeah.
Which doesn't surprise me, because I can be a bit overly expressive. So he talked to me about refining that And so I was able to refine it, and that wasn't that easy for me, but I think people got the real meat of the story that way, which was good, instead of all the flowery, fluffy stuff around the edges. So Stuart was encouraging and gave me great guidelines and helped me with chapter structure. So thank you, Stuart.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then I'm sure, I can hear him rumbling over in the kitchen. I'll let him know, I'll pass on the thanks. What about Vivi and Julie? Like that?
Oh, fantastic. Love Vivi. Love Julie. Julie, thank you, Julie. Julie knows that I am technologically challenged, and she was fantastic. And a couple of times she even put together, I've got it all down because I don't want to miss out on this. Yes, so I like the structure. I like the deadlines that you gave me. I needed that structure, which is one of my main reasons I joined up, because I didn't want to get so far, hit a bump in the road and go, you know what, this is too hard, and just shelve it for a few months. Yeah. And I like the videos, which Julie helped produce, or I think even you. They had some that you passed on when my technologically challenged brain started spinning. So these videos helped me. That really helped me. It's like you were in the room with me. Julie was nice and kept me calm at times where I wasn't sure if I could get through the next little thing, step to getting it published, because I was really stuck on getting this book out there by Christmas, book in hand by Christmas.
That was really 6 months from the time we engaged, which is amazing. And it's I commend you on your discipline, because it is often a little bit lonelier when you're just like a mentoring and then a publishing package versus say you're doing the full program completely with the other group, like with the groups that come through. There's a whiteboard behind me now of the group that just finished last week. So often I'll see publishing authors take ages, like, sometimes 1-2 years longer, versus 3 or 4 months. But you stayed so well disciplined. You turned up, I believe, to your publishing accelerator calls.
Yes, I did. And that was really helpful. I really love that accountability. I love that connection. So you don't feel alone. You can think, all right, this is good. They're there. They're just,
And you're hearing other people, like they're here and coming for me, or you might be a little bit advanced and other people are hearing of where you're at, and you've got at least that kind of weekly support, which we always say people who come to those, they're going to finish the fastest and with the least amount of hiccups and roadblocks, because they're just asking the questions and getting unblocked every single week. So
absolutely, it was very encouraging. So I liked all that, and I didn't stay stuck. And at the end of the time, Ronan, his reward was he became a man. My reward was to get a book in hand and say, hey, I'm okay after all this. Right? Yeah. That was for me.
Yeah.
It's like my diamond ring, if you like.
Beautiful. I'm so proud of you in this book and the people that it's going to transform. And we've had more comments, I think, Suzanne. Let me read them out and then we'll tell people where to buy the book. Such a wonderful interview. Haven't jumped on for a while. The universe sent me your way. Thank you, ladies. Obviously, there was a message she needed to hear for her partner and her and be involved in that relationship. Amanda, good on you for writing your book. I'm sure it'll be appreciated by many families. The strategies you're sharing are so positive. So there you go. So I'm sure there's going to be more stuff coming through as we go through the day and people catch this as a recording, or if you're watching it anywhere, reach out to Cheryl. I'll share your website, Cheryl. Where currently, guys, you can probably even get a signed copy personally from Cheryl. It's CherylVirgo.com. So CherylVirgo.com. If you're listening to this as a podcast later on after the fact, as you can see, the book is there, as well as I've got a beautiful little picture here of the book. You can see it front and back there, just big on the screen.
There's an email too. Email, if they want to email, they're welcome to.
Yeah, so they'd probably find that on the website. Is that right?
Yes, they will.
Yeah, perfect. And what we're doing in a moment is, because this is hot off the press, is we will be releasing international distribution. And in a few days, this book will also show up on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Booktopia, all of your good online reseller stores. So if you type in My Transgender Son, Cheryl Virgo, it will give you options to purchase elsewhere. But as I said, if you go directly to Cheryl, she'll most likely sign it for you and send you a copy personalized, which is the benefit of getting it directly from her own website. Any final words of wisdom you'd like to share?
Just that I want to keep sharing this with my community, and then I've got plans to go further with it. I'm doing the one-on-one coaching. I want to do podcasts, words of wisdom. Just love the spirit, not the body. I believe we're all spirit at the end of the day, long after the body passes.
Exactly right. And I love that saying. It's maybe make a hashtag around that one, and create a movement, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for giving up your time today and sharing with our community and the far and wide world that this is going to be up on YouTube and everywhere. We're going to, kind of, let people know so that you can impact. And we already know from this interview while we were live, it'll impact one family that's about to, is in the midst of this process. So guys, have an amazing week. I'll see you next week with another newly published author. I'll reveal that later on, but for now, go and check out Cheryl's book, get it signed and help someone, even if it's not within your family. You might know a friend, or just pass this interview on. At least, that's a minimum for someone to just hear a few tips that she has shared today. All right, and as always, go and smash it out. Bye, guys.